Hello students, in the previous classes we were discussing about types of chemical reactions where we had discussed about combination reaction, decomposition reaction and single displacement reaction. Let's move forward to the last type of reaction, that is double decomposition or double displacement reaction. As the name itself suggests over here, there is exchange of ions in between two molecules to form newer compounds. Going by the definition, we have a reaction in which two compounds in a solution react to form two new compounds by mutual exchange of radicals. As you can see over here, AB and CD are reacting in such a manner that the anion from CD moves to AB, whereas the anion from AB moves to CD. That is, what is the new set of combination we are having? A, D and C, B. Please note here we are writing in this order because always the cation is written first and then the anion, and here cation is C. So what are we getting? We are getting two compounds AD and CD. These can be further classified into two types, which are precipitation reaction and neutralization reaction. You all have studied that an insoluble solid substance formed during the course of a reaction is known as precipitate. On reaction of two liquids or a gas and a liquid, if we observe formation of solid insoluble particles, those are known as precipitate. And such a reaction is known as precipitation reaction. Going by the definition, a chemical reaction in which two compounds in their aqueous state react to form an insoluble salt as one of the products. As you can see over here, we have taken silver nitrate and hydrochloric acid both in aqueous state, and on reaction we are getting silver chloride, which is a white colored curdy substance in form of precipitate, and nitric acid. So what did we observe? That using two aqueous solutions we have produced an insoluble solid substance, silver chloride over here. So this reaction is known as precipitation reaction. One thing to be noted here is that double displacement reaction may also occur with evolution of gas. Like precipitation reaction, where we were getting insoluble solid substances, there are certain double displacement reactions where we will get evolution of gas also. As you can see over here, ferrous sulfide on reaction with sulfuric acid produces ferrous sulfate, and we observe evolution of a gas which is hydrogen sulfide. The characteristic smell of hydrogen sulfide is like rotten egg, or we can identify the presence of hydrogen sulfide by its rotten egg like smell. Moving further, we have second type of double decomposition reaction, that is neutralization reaction. On reaction of an acid and a base, we observe formation of salt and water only, and this is termed as neutralization reaction, since acid and base neutralize each other. Going by the definition, the reaction between an acid and a base that forms salt and water only is known as neutralization reaction. Have a look at this example where we have taken a soluble base with an acid, or rather we can say an alkali with an acid. So when we are taking a base and an acid and reacting them, we are observing that salt and water are produced over there. The thing that is to be paid attention over here is that whenever we are reacting an acid and a base, the OH minus ions from the base and the H plus ion from acid move out and combine together in order to generate HOH, which is also known as H2O. Now the ions that are left over here are a positively charged ion in base and a negatively charged ion in acid. That is what we can say, the basic radical is positively charged whereas the acidic radical is negatively charged. On combination they both form a salt, that is NaCl in this particular example. In this way the neutralization reaction is carried out. Let's move on to the next example where we have taken an insoluble base and we are reacting with an acid. So when we take copper oxide and react it with sulfuric acid, what are we observing? We observe formation of copper sulfate, salt and water. Let's move on to the next topic, which is uses of neutralization reaction. Students, in our day-to-day life we have wide variety of uses of neutralization reaction. As you can see here itself, it is used to neutralize formic acid or bee sting by using slaked lime or baking soda to give relief. You all must have observed that when a honeybee stings you, it is very painful and you have a burning sensation over there. It is because that bee releases formic acid into your skins. Now, on application of mild base like baking soda, the pain and the burning sensation releases, providing a relief to the patient. Next example, milk of magnesia treats acidity. Acidity is a condition where the amount of hydrochloric acid which is being produced in the stomach is in excess quantity, which results in pain and swelling in stomach. Now, use of mild bases like milk of magnesia or sodium hydrogen carbonate can provide relief in such a situation. Next one, acid spilled on body or clothes is neutralized by ammonia solution. If an acid is spilled accidentally on the clothes or on the body, it is washed with ammonia, since ammonia being a base neutralizes the effect of acid and provides relief. Slaked lime is used to remove acidity from soil. There are certain conditions where there is failure of crops because of high acidic nature of the soil. However, plants can survive only in a certain neutral condition. So, in order to provide better conditions for the plants, the soil is sent for testing, and if it is highly acidic, it is treated with bases like slaked lime. On the contrary, if the soil is highly basic, it is treated with certain acid to make it neutral for healthy growth of plants. Our next topic is energy change in chemical reactions. See students, if you remember, we have already studied that energy is stored in every compound in form of potential energy. In chemistry, we refer to that energy as chemical energy, and it is because of this energy that all the atoms of that compounds are held together. Now, whenever any compound undergoes a reaction, what happens over there? The first and the foremost thing is that it should be provided with adequate energy to break the bonds which are existing over there, and then only it can undergo a chemical reaction in order to form new bonds. So one thing is certain over here, and that is there will always be change in energy whenever any chemical reaction occurs. Now this change in energy can be in form of heat, it can be in form of light, it can be in form of sound or electricity. Likewise, we all have seen that suppose we take a paper and burn it, we can see that the energy that was present over here is being released in form of heat and light. The same thing goes on differently for different reactions. We have two types of reactions based on exchange of energy. They are exothermic reactions and endothermic reaction. As the name itself suggests, exothermic, that is release of heat. So the reactions in which heat is released is known as exothermic reactions. In such reactions, the energy content of the reactant is higher than the energy content of the product, and we observe a rising temperature, like calcium oxide on reaction with water gets converted into calcium hydroxide with an evolution of large amount of heat. You must have seen at your homes also that before whitewashing, whenever the painter mixes slaked lime in water, it is accompanied with large amount of heat. Similarly, whenever any fuel is burnt, there is release of large amount of energy. Likewise, if we take methane and burn it in presence of oxygen, we obtain carbon dioxide, water particles and heat. Students, our respiration process is also an example of exothermic reaction. When we breathe in oxygen, it reacts with the glucose present in our body to produce carbon dioxide, water and energy to do work. Also, you can observe that when you inhale, the air is cool. However, when you exhale, the air is warm, which shows that this is an exothermic reaction. Let's move on to the next type of reaction, which is endothermic reaction. In endothermic reaction, the energy content of the reactants will be less than the energy content of the products. And contrary to exothermic reactions, heat is going to be absorbed over here. As a result, we will observe fall in temperature. Like when calcium carbonate is heated, it breaks down to give calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. You all can observe that calcium carbonate is absorbing this heat, and as a result we are getting calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Students, we have two more types of reactions. The first one being photochemical reaction. As the name itself suggests, the reaction which occurs with absorption of light energy are known as photochemical reaction. The only difference between photochemical reaction and photolytic decomposition is that in photolytic decomposition we have only a single reactant. However, this is not certain for photochemical reactions. As you can see in this example, that is photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide reacts with water in presence of chlorophyll and sunlight to provide glucose, water and oxygen gas. Next one is electrochemical reactions. Again, the reactions which occur with absorption of electrical energy are known as electrochemical reaction. Again, these are different from electrolytic reaction, electrolytic decomposition reaction, because there we were having only a single reactant. However, this is not certain for electrochemical reactions. Let's see it with an example. If we take aqueous solution of potassium chloride and pass electric current through it, we observe that it dissociates into K plus cations and Cl minus anions.